Sometimes it's just nice when you can have an opportunity to just enjoy the beautiful glow of the aetheryte and the many people who come to gaze upon its splendor. And sometimes it's really nice when you can do it alongside a brother or a sister dragoon. It's a good thing this person's AFK, or else I wouldn't have been able to get this shot, but I still think it's really cool. So, with that in mind, greetings people of the world, Matthew back with you here at Novora Autism for the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It is year 2, day 31 for EDSS here in the Realm Reborn. Yes, what a wonderful start. And today we have returned to where our journey began, in Gridania, as we now start to take on some of the dungeons that were introduced in patch 2.3, as well as a couple of others that I missed that were from patch 2.2. So since there were a couple that I missed from patch 2.2, we'll start with those first. And of course, since our journey in this game began in Gridania, where better to start? So our starting point for this particular access to a dungeon is going to be here in Gridania. We're going to make our way to the Conjurer's Guild, which is where people start the game as healers and who can ultimately train to become white mages, which is their elevated warrior class. So, the person that we want to speak to is going to be right through this tunnel. Yeah, you might remember the Conjurer's Guild from the very early days of this LP back in year 1. We had quite a number of tasks to do here in this place, and it's here today that we take on another one, courtesy of the Guildmaster known as Isumion. So we're going to take his challenge entitled One Night in Amdapor. Brother Isumion would like a word on behalf of a most illustrious client. It is well you are here, Edie. Some burdens are too heavy to bear even for those so favored to abide. Know that you were chosen as much for your true heart as your skill. I speak to you in the name of the 3 Seed Seers. The eldest, Kane Senna, you will already know as the guardian of our land. 2 siblings has she. It is the younger of this pair, Arun Senna, who hears the voice of the elementals with greatest clarity, and what he has heard lately is troubling indeed. These dark stirrings we have traced to the Lost City of Amdapor in the South Shroud. The city once throve in the fullness of magic during the 5th Astral Era, but it was sealed in the wake of its demise. Yeah, we actually were at a similar place here in the 2nd year, known as Amdapor Keep, but this is its own separate dungeon that we're going to. It's not the same place, it's a different one. Alas, the Torswood has been out of balance since the calamity. So riotous has its aspect become that the seal was ultimately broken. When this happened, the forest surrounding the city began to wither and die. We would enjoin you to investigate the cause. Now, I must confess that this is a task for the Twin Adder normally, but we do not live in normal times, Edie. The company is spread thin and you are stuffed with success. Will you not assist? It is well that you are sent, for the need is great. Go now to Seed Seer Raya Osena at Camp Tranquil and listen well to what she says of her brother's divination. So that is where we go. To Camp Tranquil in the South Shroud. It's not that far of a trek. They're not actually... Raya Osena and Arun Senna are not specifically within the confines of Camp Tranquil itself. They have their own little perch that they have a little spot that they like to view over the swamp that surrounds this camp. So they're going to be in this direction. We'll see them as we're running by on our chocobo. Yep, there's Raya. Well, I guess more specifically Raya O. And she's accompanied by a pair of cute little Moogles. Don't worry, these are not the Moogles that you would run into if you were fighting good King Moggle Mog the 12th. So let's go ahead and speak with this young Seed Seer and sister of the elder Seed Seer, Kane Senna. Ah, hear about that cursed pile of rocks they call the Lost City of Amdapor, I assume? I am Raya Senna, a sister to the elder Seed Seer. Brother Isumion hasn't told you much, has he? Discretion is the better part of his valor. Well, aside from Amdapor Keep, the city is all that remains of an advanced magical civilization from the 5th Astral Era. No records survive of how the city met its end, but the elementals tell us all was undone by what the Great One calls an unclean presence. I fear that's what my brother senses in this very thing. Its Satan is strained after so many centuries. If it hungers for another city to stake its thirst on. I'll take it from here, sister. And here comes the youngest of the Senna family, Arun. There you are, brother. Why must you dawdle so and leave the tedious explanations to me? Now convey all you felt to this artful adventurer. My sister paints me as a bumbling rustic, but I assure you, I'm nothing of the sort. I'm simply attuned to something greater, which brings us to that darkness stirring in Amdapor behind the barrier. Something has kindled there, and daily it grows, and how distrait the elementals are. I've not seen the lack of it. They show me what feels like an awakening, and nightmares. I fear this calls for a more prosaic sensing than that of my rare gift. Some disaster slouches towards us. Might you discover the source of these dark visions and nip it in the bud? You are our best hope, Edie. Surely you can find the will to journey to Amdapor. You shall find a word whaler by the name of Alphine, keeping vigil at the barrier. I believe I will do that. And don't worry about returning here to tell us of your findings. The elementals will doubtless keep us apprised. But enough talk. Good luck, Edie. And so Arun goes to his musings. And so we'll leave Raya and her little Moogle friends to be. Well, actually, let's talk to her Moogle friends. Kupchak Hoopa, let's see what you have to say. Why, I served Ryo since she was a little girl no bigger than me. Kopo! She has matured much since the calamity. Her brother Arun, on the other hand. Well, when you come to know someone for a long time, I guess you would get that impression, wouldn't you? Puknipak, what do you have to say? When she was a child, Ryo had quite a temper. She's a sweet little girl now, but a Moogle does not easily forget. Even now the sound of her voice makes my first stand on end. Kopo! So be it. So, destination is going to be... Where are you? Right there. So, we see the Lost City of Amdapor here. It's actually quite a bit of distance from Amdapor Keep, which is over in this way. Over in Snake Mold. So, yeah, it's strange that the two places that we need to go to for the various locations for Amdapor are not in the same general area, that they're quite a bit of distance apart from each other. But I'm not the one who made this game, that was old Square Enix. I go to that line way too often, but I only say what is true. So, over here... we have to... Okay, we're up against the border, so we can't go any further over here. So we have to jump over through all these revenants to find Alphine. Yeah, this is not the easiest place to stay in ground with all these feral enemies, but since we're level 50, we won't be attacked by them. Alright, Alphine, what have you got to say? The Seed Seers has word of your coming. You are bold indeed to willingly glimpse into the darkness. The Lost City festers more and more by the day, and they say you're looking to lance the boil, eh? Beyond this gate lies our land out of balance, its earth aspect sapped by the calamity. You had best be prepared before proceeding further. Rot and wrong, that's what you'll see. Creatures run mad, tormented by hooked birds that clutch and burrow. Well, good luck with that. No doubt you'll prevail, being favoured of the Seed Seers and all. Fight well! And so that completes the One Night in Amdapor challenge, and in doing so we now unlock the Lost City of Amdapor. So we now have it at our disposal. So let's go ahead and queue up for this particular challenge. So we'll go ahead and find this one. It's going to be right here. And we'll unselect Battle on the Big Bridge since we don't have to do that one anymore. So be back in a moment and we will make our way into the Lost City of Amdapor. And as you can see, it's heavily gated, but of course we get direct access in. So, be back in a moment, and we'll be on our way inside. Yeah, so now we've arrived. Yeah, what Amdapor Keep was? Well, that's nothing compared to what this place is. The Lost City of Amdapor is one disgusting location. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you could swear you were playing The Last of Us. But, nonetheless, myself and 3 others will be making our journey here at this frightening, horrorful locale. So let's go and get this going. And this actually has quite, as you can understand, quite some very somber music. And it will actually play even during fights against the enemies. Because this is the start of a series of, well, actually it was already shown up in Hawk Manor, but the tempo changed whenever, the music changed whenever you went into battle in Hawk Manor. Here, it remains constant throughout the entire location, no matter whether or not you are in battle or not. There'll be a lot of enemies that are, like, can be completely gross and disturbing. So, it's not necessarily Halloween. I mean, Halloween's in the 7th month, but still, it is pretty creepy, I'm sure you will admit. To know that this is pretty much the entire music that you hear is just a piano solo. Played over and over again. Because there's not much else in terms to speak of the music here. It maintains its consistent pace and tempo all throughout. Oh, my target went away because our tank is going to get some new targets. We should finish off this one before we start running too far. Well, and you might want to be careful about, because some of the treasure chests here are not what they seem. There are a couple of treasure chests in this place that do house mimics. And mimics are evil, vicious, brutal monsters that will take away a lot of health from you if you aren't careful. For those of you who are wondering, that's not a misspell, and it's not supposed to be represented in that particular way. The title that our tank has obtained is one that they obtained by achieving one of the most getting one of the most successful achievements in the game that you can get by beating one of the hardest dungeons that there is. And it's only through completing that dungeon that you get that particular title. As I said, that's in this instance, that's not what it's referring to. It's not supposed to be suggestive in any way. But ultimately, once we get to a point where we see a mold colony, we have to destroy the mold colony. We will not take damage from the mold colony itself, but we do have to destroy it in order to advance. Because there's so much mold that is built up that it's actually blocking our path. Yeah, you saw the sign that said Morty Barricade fall away, so that means we can continue on. And we can't break it down like we could the spider webs in the Tomkara Deep Croft. Actually, wasn't, I don't know, that wasn't, was it Tomkara Deep Croft? No, it wasn't. It was, the correct name is eluding me right now. Anyway, we can move on. So we're gonna keep on going here. And now we start seeing scorpions now coming into the picture. And looks like our tank's gonna keep pulling. Seems like our tank feels confident enough to do a large pull. As you can see, we cannot advance further or open that gate until we defeat all the enemies that are over here. This place, unlike a lot of other high-level dungeons, where tanks will have an opportunity to pull an insane number of monsters all together at once, it's not going to work the same here because, as you can see, we are blocked in quite a number of ways. But the next dungeon I take you to, that will be a stark contrast. The next dungeon I take you to on the next time I upload a Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn video is the one dungeon that everyone will go insane crazy to pull as many enemies as can possibly be done. It is known that if you are not very good at your skills and what you do with the warrior choice that you've chosen, you will find yourself taking a lot of heat and a lot of pain and suffering. Now this is one of those instances where I said if you choose the wrong chest, a mimic will appear. So in that instance, it did. The bard chose the wrong treasure chest, and now we have a mimic that it's chasing us. So it's unfortunately going to be on the field of battle as we make our way here, and I'm dead. The stupid mimic killed me. Now, this is something that really we should not have happened, but I guess the bard is also new here. Yeah, one of the things it's supposed to do is that you're going to be constantly targeted by the boss itself, and you will get regularly eaten. So we're going to see that happen in a moment, because I'm the one who's been targeted by the boss. So we should be seeing that. Now the bard is dead. Yeah, a painful lesson from the tank. And once you get eaten, then it's up to your party to break you out. If they don't break you out in time, you automatically die. And it looks like the bard surrendered. Now, I know what happened the last time I did that. And I shan't be doing it again. So, we'll see if we can keep going and go ahead and try and stop them. Okay, this is going to be particularly tough, but also easy because of the fact that it's the healer who is targeted. Now, what the boss did just there, putting that mold on the ground, well, that's something that you definitely want to avoid touching, because that can cause status afflictions on you. So you want to minimize your time in it as much as possible. I believe we can go ahead and use the limit break, because it seems like we're doing well enough. Okay, and the heater's been targeted again. To be honest, I'm actually surprised that if there is a first timer and it is the bard, I'm surprised that they are, because of their fact that they have over 6,000 HP as their max, so that really surprises me. But nonetheless, without the help of the bard, we're gonna get the win here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and roll for these two items. Might get the lime sulfur. So let's go ahead and start pursuing the tank, because now they're gonna have a little more room to run. Yeah, now we're gonna start seeing an opportunity for the tank to run a little bit. They're gonna run directly to the mold colony. And since that takes priority over all else, that's what we're gonna go ahead and destroy first. And of course, make sure to stay away from any AoE that you may encounter. Yeah, thank you whoever targeted or marked the mole colony as the priority one to destroy. Right, there we go. It's gone. Means once we kill off all the rest of these enemies, we will advance. Ugh. Take him down. Take him down, fool. See, there are a lot of hectides that are usually around these set series of mold colonies. I guess they feed off of them the most. Alright, so start pounding away on whatever we can get our hands on and put our spear through. We're enjoying the somber piano music, the somber piano solo. At the same time, we're hearing the loud banging and pounding of the various weapons colliding with the enemy's flesh and bones and eyes and various other organs. Alright, let's be on our way. Off to the next area. Yeah, I mean, you can see the spores floating around in the air. You can see just how bad it is in this place. We want to run through here because that hurts us. So it looks like we're gonna stop right here. And we'll start beating up more bad guys. Do everything we can to further our cause and to get them eliminated. And suddenly we have the use of Holy here by the White Mage. That's their strongest attack spell. And people often forget that in Final Fantasy games, White Mages did possess attacking spells. They may not obviously be apparent or easily remembered or recognized, but they do have them. Yuna, perhaps in Final Fantasy X, had the most iconic form of the spell Holy. And in Final Fantasy XII, if you're willing to put in the time, anybody could learn it. So in this instance, you want to touch the chest on the left. Yeah, the first time you didn't want to touch the one on the left because it was a mimic. This time, however, switching it up. And let's go ahead and chase into the one patch of land that is not affected by the poison. Let's go ahead and position ourselves correctly. And we'll take out the gadfly. And there are a couple of them here, but not that much to worry about. Now, a lot of enemies you don't have to worry too much about unless there's something that you by absolute necessity have to kill, like the mole colonies that we've seen already while we've been in here. Nice, took him out. So as you can see, we have one more mole colony to deal with. And this is actually the last one. There won't be any more mole colonies for us to contend with beyond this point. This is the last one we'll have to deal with. It looks like for some reason we have kiting going on, meaning that the tank appears to be drawing everything. Which begs the question, A, why is the tank not getting healed? And B, why am I the only person attacking the mole colony? Because we know that's the first thing that must be destroyed before anything else. And that'll help us. That will help our cause. And we'll go ahead and resume our usual offense. I didn't get it. I didn't get the lime sulfur, unfortunately. The tank got it. Alright. Off we go to the next location. So we've arrived at boss number 2. Now this one works a little bit differently. What the tank is going to do here is target a lesser enemy in order to kill it, and once it dies, that attracts the boss and brings them down onto a reachable area where you can actually attack them. So let's go ahead and pound away. Yeah, so after a while, the boss will fly away, and then you have to kill another one of these ranged Ramuras in order to bring the Ariok down here back into the field of battle where it's reachable, where everyone can attack it. Plus, at times, it also cause a big pool of poison to be spread out, so you're gonna have to deal with that too. Alright, on to the next section. Let's kill off Wamura in order to keep Ariok down on our level. Close to getting access to another limit break. There we go. Go ahead and use it. Yeah, the pools of poison, they will disappear after a certain amount of time, so they won't be there on the field permanently. Go ahead and get ourselves close to sealing the deal on Ariok. Won't be much further now. And it's dead. Alright, that takes care of him. let's go ahead and play for this amount of treasures. Ooh, one automatically goes to me. As for the others, well, we'll see what happens. I know I'm getting one automatically. But it's time for us to go inside now. And so, when we go inside, we're going to see that we have a bit of a barrier to deal with. Now, what the white mage was doing is that they're attacking the white mage stones. Meanwhile, the tank is drawing away all the enemies from there. And what we're ultimately going to do is that we want to destroy both white mage stones, because if we don't, we cannot destroy the balls of fawn off in the distance, which is the enemy we have to defeat in order to continue on. We gotta get rid of everything else so they're not distracting us. And then we'll go ahead and proceed to advance to the next section. I will deal with destroying the mage stones so we can actually damage balls of fawn. I might take damage from this one. Yeah, I did. Thankfully, the bind only lasts for 5 seconds. And I didn't take that much in terms of damage anyway. Into the skies. Keep pounding away on them. There we go. So the tank will draw balls of fawn. Meanwhile, we gotta get the other white mage stone destroyed in order to gain access to damaging balls of fawn, as I mentioned before. And let's put a little loft into our movements. So now, with those white mage stones destroyed, balls of fawn can now take damage. Into the air again. And Paralyzed 3, you want to avoid that, or else you'll be paralyzed for quite a substantial amount of time. But balls of fawn is defeated, and we now get access to the next area. As you can see, there's a treasure chest that we're coming up on. There usually is more gear to play for in that chest. It's not going to go to me, it's likely going to go to the white mage. It's likely to go to the healer. Now in this instance, there are 4 white mage stones to deal with. But we're going to keep repeating the process that we did before by drawing all the enemies away and attacking them. And then once having done that, we can then focus our attention on destroying the white mage stones. So basically, it's the same process as before, except there's more enemies to defeat and more white mage stones to destroy. All the while listening to the somber piano solo. Right, ads are gone. Now we have to start destroying the mage stones. Same as before. Nothing changes in the way we do this. Just get them down as fast as we can, have the tank do all the primary diverting, and then once you get your chance, go for it. So, my fellow allies are also destroying the other mage stones. There's 1 down, there's 2 down. This one's about to go down, it is. Alright. So yeah, this is pretty much the sum of what you do here in the last part of the Lost City of Amdapor. And it sets up for quite an interesting boss duel. But we'll talk more about that once we're actually there. I'm going to save my attacks, my special attacks, until we're actually at the boss. Alright, here we go, on our way there. So, what we're ultimately fighting is coming out of this void. This is a pretty creepy looking enemy. And he's certainly gonna be a pain in the butt. Now, what you want to do here in this fight is that you need someone ahead of time who can mark the doors. You notice that there are diabolical gates all around us. What you want to do is take a quick note of what symbols are on the top of the doors and memorize them so that when you need to, you can open a set of matching doors to avoid getting damaged by Diabolos' ultimate attack. There's also going to be a gravity orb in play. Sometimes it'll target you, sometimes it won't. Crap. Well, this time it was me who suffered, but thankfully I got the heavy removed. Alright, that's Ruinous Omen. That's the ultimate ability. Now, if the tank, or if someone is going to open the doors for us, then we should be able to survive. But I've also seen runs where the option to not use the doors is also done. It will devastate you for a lot of damage, but if you believe that your party is confident enough and that you're strong enough to endure it, then you won't even need the doors. But you have to act fast in order to kill this guy quickly enough so that you don't get nailed by a second time. But as a good rule of thumb, if you're starting out with a completely different new group of people that have never done this for the first time ever, best rule of thumb is to memorize the patterns on above the diabolical gates and open them in order to avoid getting nailed by the Ruinous Omen, which is Diabolos' ultimate attack. And I've been put to sleep. In fact, we've been all put to sleep. That's not good. And that gravity orb is still giving us fits. Yeah, so far we've done really well as far as causing damage. In fact, he hasn't used the Ruinous Omen again, which I find quite surprising, to be quite honest. I was not expecting him to not unleash it a second time. Okay, here he goes. Now he's unleashed it. But we might be able to stop him. We might be able to stop him from using it a second time. In fact, we have a healthy enough lead to do it, and we have. Victory is ours over Diabolos. Come crashing down, kiddo. We've beaten you. So, with Diabolos slain, we can go ahead and claim victory here in this frightening place. Oh, we did get the earrings after all. Well, I guess commendation does belong to the tank, but they ran away before I could get the chance to reward them, but... Oh, and we got the sulfur too, nice. So, that is pretty much going to do it for us here in Lost City of Amdapor. Having taken care of both Amdapor Keep and the Lost City of Amdapor, two completely different locations in the Style Shroud, but two very crazy styles of fighting there, we can now move on to the next dungeon that was part of 2.2 that it did not include previously. We'll take care of it next time. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. And when I join you again, we will make our way back to Mordona to get the access point for the start of the next 2.2 dungeon underway. So until next time everyone, this is Matthew at Navora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.